What's up, everybody? It's your boy, Mr. Locker Room, here with another edition of our Locker Room Talk. Today, we have a special guest, one of my dear friends here, Mr. Emerald here. You already know who I am, but I'm going to let Emerald introduce himself before we start talking about what the topic is for today. So go ahead, Emerald. I'm excited you're here. You look great, man.
Hey, thanks, man. I appreciate you having me. My name's Emerald. I know Joshua from our time at Target together, and spent a lot of time late nights working lines and working freight. And got to have some interesting conversations, and I'm excited to put them on here and have another one of those conversations. And it's fun, man. I feel like we're gonna have a good time and banter, and be able to build some interesting dialogue.
Yes, that is definitely, definitely yes, because one
Phew.
thing everybody that knows here about us at the locker room, our dialogue is very interesting to say the least, because we get to the heart of it, and we don't. At least I don't hold any punches or sugarcoat things, and I know you don't either.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
So yeah, it's gonna be really, really great. And then for those you all like, well, who is Emerald? You're gonna find out as we talk why he's on here, right? So yeah, so today's episode is talking about balancing legacy, fatherhood, growth, and the grind, and all of that. Okay, I'm not a father, right?
Yeah.
But we have both legacy and we have growth that we've talked about, the different ways that we do that. And clearly both of us knows what the grind what the grind
Yeah.
looks
Yeah.
like. So let's just dive right into it. Have you ever felt like you're running two races?
Oh man. I two races I don't think is a big enough number because
Mm,
there's so many different ways that you're pulled in a day, specifically like career wise. You want to invest all of yourself there, and like you want to push that envelope as far as you can and
yeah.
build this just robust, prolific, influential
Mm.
space for yourself because there's some ego stuff in there. There's some I'm good enough, I'm the best, I'm this. But then at the same time, right? Like you got
Yeah.
you got that career stuff going on. You got like I have a family at home. I've got
Mm.
I've got a wife, I got two kids, I got animals, I got a house, I have all these other pieces that also want 100% of your time
Yeah. Yeah.
and energy and thought and like all that kind of good stuff. And those it's like well, your right foot's going fast for one reason, your left foot's going fast for another. And then at the same time, there's yourself. There's that sense of self because you're devoting 100% of yourself to your career. You're devoting 100% of yourself to your family. What's left for yourself? And
Hmm.
the things that are interest you or that bring you happiness sans career and family. Um, that's that third race where you're like for instance me, I love Pokemon cards, right? Like I love collecting and looking at Pokemon cards, but that's not something I can do with my 18-month-old. Like you're gonna tear those cards up, so I got to do something different, and that's less time for myself. So
Yeah.
it's finding that balance or that desire to win multiple races, which
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
it's a fun piece.
You said the desire to win because I find it somewhat counterintuitive too. When somebody says you got to find that balance, and I'm like, technically you can't, because it's
Yeah,
like when you're dealing with mathematical equations, yes, you balance both sides because you have to in order for the equation to work. But in real life, that's not how life works.
yeah.
You can't
That's
you can't, because it's like if you want to give 100% at work and 100% at home, you don't have 200%. You only have it,
Yeah,
it
and
just
it's a struggle every day, bro. Like it's tough, man, because the and I think that's where like partnerships and friendships
mm,
and like my wife is a prime example, right? So like
mhm.
there's days at work that are super easy. Like you win at work because you've either set routines or you've set up a team for success or whatever that is. There's days at work that are easy, there's days at work that are hard, and there's days at home that are easy and there's days at home that are hard. And with my wife and my selected partner, because she picked me, I picked her, like there's mutually beneficial exchange there.
Mm-hmm.
And if I have to give that 100% at work, she picks up my slack at home, vice versa. Like she's got a career, she's got a life outside of the home too. And that's where partnerships become super huge. And then at work, the same can be said. Like, I don't think anybody can be 100% individually successful at anything that they're doing. Like, I don't think it's possible. Like, I don't think that I can muscle my success at work or at home just by myself. Like, a huge portion of my success is going to come from the team that I build, both
Yeah.
at home and at work. Like we're all a team, and this race that we're winning or losing is a direct reflection and a direct has direct correlation to the idea that your success is in those that you bring along with you, and I think that's a huge piece.
Well, it is because you said your selected partner, right? And then a lot of I don't want to say a lot of times it's like I have witnessed from conversations, right? Because I'm single still, right? I had almost a relationship that I was almost engaged to get
Hmm.
married. Which the people here already heard that whole spiel from the women's worth episode 2, and working and talking with Cap on one of the episodes that we did. That was very, very transparent episodes, you guys.
Yeah.
So make sure you go back and check out those episodes.
Man,
Um,
I can imagine. I can imagine on that
but
one.
it's like once you're in the relationship, you don't, or you shouldn't forget that, hey, I this was a choice.
Hmm.
This was a choice. I chose you, you chose me. And every day I have to keep choosing you, right? Because the
Yeah.
day that I stop is the day that life starts to get harder for both of us.
Yeah. I mean, I think that relationships are tough. Like I don't think anybody can say that their relationship is easy.
Mm,
I've been with my wife since we were sophomores in high school, right? Like we're going on 17 years together now.
mm.
We've been married for 10 in November, but we've been dating or in some form of relationship for 17 years. And
Congratulations.
thank you, thank you. And I there's all kinds of cliches when it comes to relationship, never go to bed angry, fall in love every day. Like, I don't know, there's all these kinds of cliches. And the one thing that I've learned is that none of that matters. Like none of it matters. None of those cliches are real for any real stretches of time. Like I think that when it comes to relationships, probably 75-80% of them are work, right? Like you're working at something, you're working towards something, whether it's saving for a goal or buying a house or getting the kids and making sure the kids are raised right. Like something is it's work. 75 to 80% of that is work.
Mm, mhm,
And if you can't, like, your partner, whoever that is, should be somebody that you're excited to go to work with every day, like excited to work for and with, because at some point she's the boss, at some points I'm the boss. And
mm,
it's this idea that I'm excited to work for her and I'm excited to work with her and I'm excited to have her work for me to be able to achieve whatever it is that we're talking about. Because 80% of that relationship, you're not having fun. Like you're not on dates. You're not sitting on the back porch, sipping a glass of scotch. You're working to pay the bills. You're working to make sure the kids are right. You're working to make sure the house is not falling apart around you. Like there's a lot of pieces there. And with with my wife, it there. I mean, we fight, we argue, we get into
mhm,
it. We
mhm,
There's days we don't like each other. There's days that we struggle to be able to be in the same room as each other. But at the like, it never lasts very long, and we always
mhm,
find some way to come back to each other and find some way to find that internal motivation and uh that drive to be the best we can for each other. And it's there's a lot there, and relationships are tough, but I could not win either race that we're talking about without her next to me,
mhm.
without her with me. Like it just wouldn't be possible.
You talked about the pursuit, right? So being married, yeah, you got married, yeah, honeymoon, awesome. Okay, now what? Right after that, it's like
Yeah.
so you you touched on some things that people don't necessarily have, right? Okay. Full disclaimer, as most people know, I'm not married. I already said I was single, right? But I've never been married. So my approach to pursuing relationships, right? Because you can apply the same principle you're talking about into different relationships. It's like when you have that connection, like how do you continue to pursue your spouse and your wife after you're married? Because it's like you have your 40 plus hour work week depending on the time and the season, and then she has the things that she's going. Life doesn't stop being for you, and it doesn't stop being for her just because now you all are together. You still have
Right.
two lives that are now one life,
Hmm.
one life to live, like the soap opera. But but it's like, how do you because you said this so casual, but it's not casual because you've done the work. So it's just normal now for you to say you want to be the one who's happy working for your wife or working with them, but you had to get to that point. Like, how did that pursuit began? And as opposed to like, this is where it started and this is where it's at now type of
Yeah.
thing.
So our relationship is, I'm not gonna say it's unique because there's people all over the world that have the same kind of idea, but um, to me, it feels unique. And I
Mhm.
think that's a big piece of it. But we grew up together, like literally grew up together. We got our driver's licenses together. We graduated high school together. We moved off to college together. Like all of these major milestones that um, the majority of people are experiencing individually, she and I got to experience together. So at at every stage of our pre-adulthood and early 20s, all that kind of stuff, the life that we were planning involved each other. So
Mhm.
we were always talking about how we were going to create a life and what we wanted out of our life. And there was never this, I'm going to be this, you're going to be that, we're going to be separate. So the pursuit piece, I always felt like she and I were very aligned on where we wanted to end up and very aligned on our goals. Now, how we got there and how we get there has been the true journey. So I always thought I was going to be this highfalutin, politician. That was when I was a kid, that's where I wanted to be. I want to be a politician, right? I want to be president. I'm not gonna lie, I want to be president. Now, my tattooed, ear stretched, long haired self, not gonna make a great president, but this is who I am, and this is
I mean, you
genuinely
could
who I
be.
became as an adult.
I mean,
I mean, yeah, like at 50 years down the line, but not right now. Like it's maybe our country gets to the point to where this is gonna fit, but I don't know, especially with how I align. Like I don't, it doesn't real fit, but that's what I wanted to be as a
And
kid. As she and I progressed and as she and I grew up, um, trauma happens and sadness happens
mhm,
and dejection happens, rejection happens. All of these pieces start to build up. And I think the most intimate piece of our relationship and the most romantic piece of our relationship is the fact that when those things happened, she was the one that stood by me, picked me back
mhm,
up,
mhm,
and helped me figure out my next step. And we knew that like where our goal was and where we wanted to be, which we're kind of living it at the moment, which it feels really good. But we always knew that this is where we wanted to be. And so whenever those pieces happened for either of us, because there's been many, man, there's been many of those like failure moments.
mhm,
And
mhm,
when those failure moments happened, it was very much she stood next to me, I stood next to her. We picked each other up, reminded ourselves of the goal and reminded ourselves of where we wanted to be. Took that beat, that week, that month, whatever it took to just reset and be together and, not really care about much, not really care about, to be frank, like whether the car got paid or whether the utilities got paid, just not caring about the mundane stuff that happens on a day-to-day basis
mhm,
and really reset into the emotional connection that she and I have, and then build back out from there. So it, as far as like romantically pursuing her and emotionally pursuing her and being that man for her, it is legitimately in this moment, it is anything and everything that I do in service of our family and in service of our continued growth is. pursuit, and she finds attraction to those pieces.
Mm.
Now, whether that be something as simple as throwing some laundry in, or getting the floors mopped, or some kind of taking something that off of her proverbial plate,
Yeah.
um, and working in conjunction and feeling that togetherness in the work is the pursuit for us. Like and there's obvious pieces where she walks by me and I smack her butt, and she's like, yeah, and like there's those pieces too, right?
Yeah.
But in the big picture pieces, it's she walks in and I picked up the daughter from school and we're sitting at the table working on homework, or I like on my birthday this year, I told her, I was like, hey, I'm keeping Oakland home from school and she and I are gonna go have a daddy day. And like her seeing my wife's face light up from that was you know, that not only the satisfaction that my daughter got from that moment is me choosing to spend my birthday with her, but the fact that my wife saw that and was like, you
Mm.
know, you're choosing to spend your birthday with your daughter, like those are big pieces, and it's it's an everyday thing, man. Like you can't escape it. It doesn't happen by accident. It doesn't happen by
Mm.
osmosis. It's a everyday thing.
You talked about some things that most men don't have how do I it's rare to hear the emotional vocabulary that you used around a lot of the things that you just described, because most men are trying to find the language to describe some of the things that you said, with security and conviction and confidence, right? You talked about your wife coming in, seeing you doing homework with your daughter, and seeing her expression, right? Most men don't know how to vocalize that. Oftentimes they just want to be witnessed,
Hmm.
right? And the sense of being witnessed just for being who they are, without someone trying to fix and soothe and coax and or anything like that, just to let me be and you witness me in the fullness of who I am without diminishing or devaluing or changing that. A lot of men don't have that vocabulary. And then you also talked about, choosing to spend a day that would easily been justified if you said it's about me today, and I'm going to do
Hmm.
that. Your birthday is like it's my time, and I'm going to celebrate. You intentionally made the choice that you're going to spend that with your daughter, and then your wife seeing that, and then your daughter knowing it's your birthday, regardless of her age, being chosen above something else, right? Both both your wife and your daughter seeing that and you making the choice is like, um that is something that a lot of men desire, is to be witnessed and seen at that type of level, right? And oftentimes men don't articulate that because it's like, it's easy when you've done it and and you're secure enough to say, this is what I just want to be seen with this. Even if you aren't saying I want to be seen, you do it, and then when it happens, she's like, oh, I was just seen. That fed
Hmm.
and satiated a part of me that I didn't know needed that, right? As a
Right.
man, I was heard, I was known, I was fully received, I was fully loved, and I was fully witnessed. And it brings about a wholeness, a place of completion that most men don't have the language for, because society does not show examples of this. We don't see examples of this, and if we do see it, it's at the end of a joke, it's at the
Yeah.
end of a banter, or just like that big gay meme with the you know.
Yeah.
But it's
I
like
mean,
deep
I
down,
could.
men, I know men, I know a lot of men, and some of these men too, that
Hmm.
that who they won't say it out loud, but if given the opportunity to be a participant of that, they would not turn it down at all.
Yeah, I think I don't know, man. Like there's a there's an internal struggle with me, right? Like
Mm.
I hear how society is talking about manhood, right? Like there's toxic masculinity, there's this, there's that, there's all these different conversations surrounding being a man and what that looks like. Whether like being a true man is being this uh, super in tune with your emotions and being able to portray that, or being the strong stoic type that just sits there and provides for your family. And I 100% believe that there's this that in order to be successful and in order to be in order to be a true pillar of your family, you got to have both. You got to have the ability to be the stern enforcer, the stern buck stops with me. This is who I am, just like my daddy was for me. Like uh, I can't remember my daddy telling me that he loved me or he was proud of me or anything like that until I was older, until I was, 15, 16, 17 years old, right? And when I was growing up, it was very much instilling in me the work ethic that I have now, instilling in me the care for family, the care for community, like those pieces, not necessarily like this dramatic investment in my like personal development, I guess is how I would say it. It's more of how I relate to the people around me. That's where my dad lived when in my adolescence and when I was a teenager. And it wasn't until I was older that that example of emotional connection and all that stuff started to build. But I have learned through fatherhood, through being a husband and all those kind of pieces, is that no one approach is
Mm.
gonna be successful in a vacuum. Like it just won't. And I I love love being a father. Like it is my single and it's not even necessarily my accomplishment because my wife did all the work, but like it is 100% one of my biggest accomplishments that I look at is being a dad and being a present dad that knows his family, that knows his daughter. Like all the jokes, it's like, you ask a dad who her daughter's pediatrician is, or like what her social security number is, or like any of the relevant information to her existence.
Yeah.
And they're like, I don't know, call your mom, right? I promised myself when we decided that we were going to start having kids that that was not ever going to be me. It was not ever going to be me, that I was going to be an equal parent in all of these pieces, if not a more involved parent. And I was going to fight for every moment I had with my kids. And I feel like I've lived up to that promise. And
Mm.
I am very much, very proud to be a father. And it's being a man is, I don't know, it's tough, but that's not to, I also believe it's incredibly tough to be a woman. Like I think
Mhm.
they're both difficult in their own unique situations and their own unique ways. Um, because you do struggle and you do fight a battle as a man every day, where if I'm an emotional person and I respond emotionally to situations, then you're seen as weak or you're
Mm.
seen as not as competent in whatever that situation is. Um, but if you only respond out of calculated logic or calculated stoicness, if
Mhm.
that's the words, whatever,
Oh, it
but
is. Yes.
if you only respond out of that, then you're going to be emotionally shut off and emotionally unavailable, and also lose that um, competency whenever you're speaking to people. So I know that it's a when it comes to relationships and fatherhood, like you got to have both, and you got to be able to, when your daughter falls and skins her knee, pick her up, dust her off, give her a kiss, and say I love you, and like let's get back at it. But it's a balance. Like it's not just nah, you're fine, stand up, you're good. It's let me respond to you emotionally. Let me get that emotional side into you too, but also teach you that it's all right to fall. We're gonna stand up and we're gonna do it again. We're not gonna let it defeat us. And that's where I think dads win is when they can be both and they can teach their sons and daughters that it's okay to feel sad, but it's not okay to let the sadness break you. And you
Mhm.
have to continue to get back up and do it again. And and if you do it again and you succeed and you still don't like it at that point, sure, like so let's move on to the next thing. But don't let defeat break you. And it's okay to get defeated, but it's not okay to let it break you. And that's where I live.
But you talked about something that was, I'm glad that you said it, right? Um, being emotionally available, like for your daughter or for your wife or things like that. Because as a man, we have to set the example and we also have to demonstrate it, right?
Yep.
So a lot of times I have talked with men who have not, like you said, they have not seen their father do something or show it or say, I love you and things like that. So when it comes time for them to say it or to do it, there's no embedded example because that
Hmm.
identity cue, that social cue or that family cue that could have been instilled was not implanted. And so you didn't have a foundation to grow off of that. So now that you are showing your daughter that it's okay for a man to respond to something with emotion, but how he responds to it with emotion, right? The emotion is not in, what's the word? It's not an impulsive response. It
Right.
is still a response that shows I'm aware, I see what's going on, I'm allowing myself to be in this moment. Now that I have given respect and ownness to the emotion, how do we move forward so that this emotion does not own me, but I still steward it? And so now you're showing what stewarding your emotions look like to your daughter, to your wife, but also, okay, I can trust that this man can be emotional and still stable. This man can still have his emotions and still be a safe place and not let it rule and wreck. And I can be comfortable when he shows up fully in this side. Now you're showing and demonstrating that there is a multifaceted side to being a man, to me being a man, me showing up in my fullness. And that's something that hopefully I have done with my family and friends, at least now, at least I try to do that. But that's something that you are demonstrating, right? And it gets to one of our points that we're addressing too, is leading with love, not control,
Yep.
right? And it's like, how do you think, what is your thoughts about that when it comes to um men in professionally in the career, but specifically as a husband, right? And a father, like leading with love, leading in love with love and not in control. Because um how would you define leading and how would you define control? And then how would you define leading in love and instead of leading in with control?
So, I mean, I don't think you got a lot there, but like there's a lot to unpack and there's a lot to talk through, right?
Yeah.
But leading is at its core providing direction. Uh,
Mhm.
It's there's multiple levels to that, and there's multiple levers that an individual can pull to be a leader, but ultimately you're providing direction either through verbal discourse, through example, through written documentation, whatever the case may be, but you're providing direction. And control is again multi-layered and multifaceted. Like on
Mhm.
the negative side of control is a dictatorial style of communication where you're telling somebody what to do and expecting them to do exactly that with no deviation because you have to have control of that situation and that you're controlling both their action, their response, and their product. Um, now,
Dictatorial, everybody. Dictatorial. Go ahead. That's a word. Go ahead. Go ahead.
hey, but then I also believe that control is not there's not a negative piece to that because being in control from a leadership perspective is also incredibly important. So I being in control of self and being in control of result is important. And a good form of control is putting people that you trust in places to succeed. And
Mhm.
I, a firm example is the development of talent. Now, if we're talking about the workplace and leadership, I view my core role as a leader is to develop talent and to be able to make decisions that I feel comfortable in the result of, right? So I'm gonna pour myself, my knowledge, my thought processes into these folks and build them up to where whenever they experience a situation, they have the knowledge and the experience to be able to make a decision that I will be comfortable with. And in that case, whatever that decision, whatever that outcome is, I feel in control of because I helped to create this person and create and culture their responses. Now, when you're talking about family, I think that a a man there's one thing about society and social media responses to fatherhood and manhood that I do believe in. And this is probably a slightly controversial, but I do believe that a father and the man in the relationship does need to be in control 100% of the time.
Mm,
Now, and I mean that in terms of safety and in terms of overall response and overall direction of the family. Like that's not to say that my wife is not capable of protecting herself or deciding results or deciding things for our family. It's the same idea as the workplace, is that she and I have come together, we've created an overall direction, and I am in control of that direction just as she is, but we are in control of the direction, and then I can respond as such as a final to give the situation some finality.
mm,
And
mhm,
I ultimately a man is the leader of their family, but if you're talking from religious perspectives or you're talking from societal perspectives or you're talking from historical perspectives, the man is the leader of the family. And in order for me to lead, I also need to have some semblance of control in every
mm,
single situation. And that's not to say that permission is needed for decision making because it absolutely is not. 100% it is absolutely not. What it means is that whenever a decision is made, like whether that be, I don't know, picking something up off the side of the road, bringing a dog home, the clothes we wear to school, like whatever the case may be, whenever a decision is made, that decision is in service of the family. And you are you are working to improve or you are working to maintain the overall ambiance of the family. And that's where I think the control piece comes from.